everybody, welcome back. So today we have yet another Singer Model 66. They're all a little bit different, you know. This one is from, I believe, 1946. 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 is her number. And you can see she is a Godzilla crinkle finish, and she is going to be stripped and repainted. At this point, she does turn extremely stiffly. So she's going to need a thorough makeover. So let me go ahead, get my boxes together, get my gloves on, and we'll get started taking her apart. Okay, I think I'm going to get started back here on her motor area because I just want to get that out of the way. So let's loosen up this clamp here. And this does have the whole wiring configuration where the lamp is hardwired into the bottom of the motor here. And at this point, I don't know anything about this motor. I haven't plugged it in or anything yet. That is another project for another day. If I can work it over and reuse it, I will. If not, I will replace it with a new one. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay. I need to pull this little grommet out of here too, so that's no good. All right, up here, I want to get this lamp off. It is one of these bug-eye lamps, which are terrible to work on to rewire, but right now the wires actually look pretty good, so there's a chance I could reuse that. Hang on a sec, let me get a dish here. Put some of these things in. Excuse me. But these lights are my least favorite to deal with because they're bakelite. They're very delicate. They crack incredibly easily. This one's missing the lens. I think I have some lenses, extra lenses. But in order to open it, you have to pull off these metal rings here, and that always wants to crack the bakelite. So anyway, I'm just going to have to play with this in the motor separately. But for right now, let me just go ahead and put it away, and we'll finish disassembling the machine itself. I want to show you, I went to try to pull the little grommet off, and it just crackled up and fell apart, so made it easier to pull off, you know. Okay, let me go ahead and set these aside. Okay, let's take a peek at what is going on inside the nose. I can see a little bit of rust down here on the bobbin case, but in general this is looking really good. So the slide plate does appear to be missing, you know, as they do. So I'll have to see what I can figure out with that. I might need to end up buying a new one, a new reproduction one, I should say. And the front plate looks good. No damage there, so that is lovely, and it does match the side plate. So we like that. All right, well, that's not stuck. That's great. Tell you what, let's go ahead and pull the presser foot off. This does have the older style fixed presser foot, but the lovely tiny toe. I do love that tiny toe foot. I'm trying to push down this thread cutter, as you do. All right. Let's take this finial off up here at the top and relieve all that pressure. Excuse me. She's a bit dusty. Now, I have, in the past, if you don't want to strip a Godzilla machine but you want her to look different, if you clean them up really well and then paint them with that color shift paint, since she's already a black color underneath. We have a washer and a spring. It ends up looking really sharp if you ever want to try that. Okay, for right now I'm just going to try to get this screw off here. That should be loose. I'm going to move my camera back and spray a bunch of penetrating fluid in there. This stuff seems to work pretty good. It smells very strong. It feels like there's a bit of a solvent in there, so be careful on painty stuff that you don't want to damage. Let me turn this needle up and get my little wrench. You know what, I'm going to take this needle off here because it's just going to get in my way here. Standard size needle. All right. Can I turn you? Yes, I can. Can I push you up and turn you? Yes, I can. All right. So there is my presser bar. And turn this back down again and pull this out. Hey, all right, let me get that stuff put away. Okay, I think I'm going to skip over and take off the tension unit, and this is actually an older style tension unit on this machine. It works just fine, but it's this tile that doesn't have like the pre-printed numbers and things on that, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we have our little nut here, beehive spring, the little dividing washer, the 2 tension discs, and the spring is not ready to come out yet. Let me get a bit that's going to fit in here, or this screwdriver should fit. There's a little set screw right here, right there. Okay. I think I inhaled something. There's like stuff growing right now. The goldenrod is starting to really bloom right now and everything, so who knows? Ragweed, who knows? Okay, there is a little set screw in there, and that's what was holding this outer part on. Let's see here. If I can get it to rotate just a snug here, I might be able just to pull it off. Okay, if it's rotating, that means it's not stuck. So that's good. So now I can push it out from behind. There we go. This is actually twisted in. I probably should have unscrewed it while it was still in there, because that gives me a little more tension, but you know, or a little something to grab onto, I should say. So let me get this screw back on, and I'm going to hold it here very carefully with a tool. Let me go grab that tool. Okay, let's see. I bought this and I have not had a lot of success using it. See, it doesn't want to grip very well. It had grand intentions, but honestly, I don't think that it was a good buy. I just don't. Oh well. Let's put that one back and get the one that has a little bit of oomph to it here. And again, I'm just going to hold it steady. I'm not going to damage it here. There it goes. Okay, so that was my screwdriver. I can unscrew this post. Okay, see how that was threaded in there? And now I can pull out this spring. And that is my tension unit. All right, so back to the needle bar. Let's take off this needle clamp, which actually looks pretty good, just dirty. Up here, there is a thread guide that I need to get off. And it's coming off easily, thankfully. I've done so many machines lately where everything was so bad. It's nice to have one where things actually unscrew, you know. That's the little screw there. Okay. So let's look inside of here. We do have the, let me tighten you up. We do have the little guide for setting timing, which is nice. Yeah, so that's good. So while this is in its lowest position here, okay, turn all the way down, I'm going to get my screwdriver, somewhat short, smaller end, stick it in through the back here. If you can see, can you see? There's my screwdriver. See it coming in the back? Okay. On the back side of this piece is a screw that is holding on the needle bar. It's a needle bar clamp. Let's get that lined up. And ooh, she is not wanting to turn. Let me, I want to wait for that penetrating oil to do its thing, actually. So I might leave that alone for a bit, spray a bit more oil in there, because the last thing I want to do is get in there and strip something out. Because this screw, my big Chapman, this won't fit through that hole, but I can put a different bit on here. Let's see here. I might be able to put this bit on. It won't lock in because it doesn't have the same shape, but it's longer. I'm going to put the little ratchet on. Okay. Let's try it again. I gotta get you up out of my way. Sorry about that. Let me make sure that's in place. Okay, that got it. It's turning now. Yay. Alright, once it starts turning, I can get a better handy size in here. And taking out the tension unit gives you a little window in there. I want it to focus here, not at the typewriter, focus here. Oh my gosh. Okay, see inside that little window, I can kind of see my screwdriver coming in. So I can look at that and line it up so I can watch that screw get backed out. Come on. Still coming. It's a long screw. It should be just about unthreaded there. Got a big old piece of lint on it now. Let me grab it with my screw starter. That might work. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that that is off, there shouldn't be anything holding this needle bar on. So again, I'm going to see if I put my little wrench on the bottom here, if I can turn it. And I can. So that's good. Can I move it up? Yes, I can. Oh, 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 oh. I need to push out this button. Oh, give me a minute, give me a minute. Okay, so I just tapped it out with a really big punch, you know, tapping down like that, and I've got my little cap, and then this is able to slide out. Not sure why my focusing is giving me issues. All right, so on this machine, I've got 2 screws to worry about now. There's one right here, which is a standard thread, okay? This one right here is reverse threaded, you can see, because the slot doesn't go all the way through. In the nose, wow, there's a lot of junk in here. We'll have a shmoo fest there in a little bit. So I am going to actually work on this and this over here. Now on the side of this cog, if I come in from the side, grab the right screwdriver here. Just remembered I had taken it into my house, so we'll have to deal without it here. But in this hole on the side right here, okay, there is a hole, obviously, and in here, if you see on the right side or the left side of this cog, there's going to be a set screw, and I am hunting for that set screw. Hang on, I need to move you for a second so I can feel it. Where are you? There it is. Okay, so it's in there now. And I'm going to get this little wooden handle and stick it in here so that that cog is not going to want to turn. And come over here, and I need to unscrew that set screw. And you know what? I'm going to have to push down real hard, so I'm just going to lay her down so I can just push this straight down. All right. Oh, I don't think the light's going to agree with me, but going straight through here, that's that screw. So it did turn, so that's great. It's so dark and oily in there, it's very hard to see, but it is unscrewing. Okay. And let me go ahead and get this loosened up enough, and I think it is now, that I can stick my screw starter in there and lock it on and bring it out. Can I? I feel like this is slightly off center. There we go. All right, so there is the set screw I was looking for. All right. Let's raise her up a second here. So, if I'm just repositioning everything here, stick a piece of wood down there and rotate. Okay. So at this point, this screw here is gone. What I want is this whole little piece here was being held on by that set screw, so I should be able to pull this whole thing out on its own. But this one up here, I need to get that off. So a bigger screw bit. Okay, move you up so I'm not bumping you. Sorry about that. Okay. There it is. Okay. Alrighty. So now, in theory, I should be able to wiggle that out. So, let's see if we can do that. Just wiggle, wiggle. There it goes. Okay, so here's this entire unit. Comes apart into different pieces, so that stays together. Okay. This should unscrew. This comes out. Let's see. So this is 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. Oh, I may have to undo that while I'm cleaning it, and I can set it in my little vise. But yeah, that can come loose also. So that is about it. Oops, this needs to come off. This stays with it. This is the little timing mark piece for the needle bar height. So we'll save that. I leave the bushing in. I don't have a problem with leaving it in. You know, I can clean around that. While I have her over here and kind of upright, I'm going to take off. Can you see over here this lifter lever? Okay, so that is off. Pretty standard. And I need to change bits to be able to get in here to the little tension release unit. All right. Let's get this turned. I have a cat making noises. I'm gonna have to go investigate what she is up to over there. Hopefully not up to no good, but you know how cats are. Their job is supposed to be to make sure little rodents don't come in the shop, but we'll see. Sometimes they're more apt to bring things in than keep things out. Okay, so there you go. I think she just found a new cardboard box to sit in, and she was very excited about that, which is cute, you know. All right, I'm going to see if I can get this plate off. Oh, good, that's loose. Yay. I'm just holding the little bit to get it off. Okay. Is this one loose? No, of course not. All right, let's put the ratchet on it. There we go. Now it should be. Okay, let's see. That doesn't look very bad at all. So if I can just find a slide plate that'll go with it, that'll be great. There is some fuzz, you know, but that's to be expected. Okay, so looking underneath here, this is again 1946, so it's post-war. You know, chrome was not in plentiful supply and all of that stuff. So we have a lot of black parts. And yeah, lots of stuff. So I'm gonna rearrange myself and put my little mounting block up here just so that I can have her on something very secure when I start working with my wrenches. All right, I'm gonna get started up here, taking this off. This is a 3/8 inch wrench or nut, okay? So get that started off. There you go. And I can pull this off. You can see as I'm turning this whole piece is moving up and down. That means that this is actually an eccentric bolt and it's an adjustment point. So when it gets to the point that we're putting it back together, this will have to be dealt with. Okay, you can see this little post is not centered, or hopefully you can. All right, so now that that is loose, there's 2 pivot points up here. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I want to pull this one down. Okay, so here is one of these 9/16 inch bolts or nuts. Looks like the whole point's coming out with it, which is fine. Okay. These are 2 separate pieces. It's just kind of stuck right now. And there is another one down here, but since I have the one off, it's just going to kind of flop out. So let's see if I can just kind of wiggle this whole piece out. I do have the feed dog still on there, but I had enough clearance, it came out, which is nice. Okay, let me pull this off. This is the other pivot point here. And this screw, looking quite dry. Okay, so, you know, usually I take the feed dogs off first. I just didn't this time, and it worked out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm going to go ahead and pull these feed dogs off now. Maybe. Let's try it another way. Okay. I am on a big, you know, padded surface here, so when I push down, it doesn't hurt it. Okay, so there's the feed dogs. Not bad shape at all. You know, a bit of surface rust, but it's not bad. On this, I know I've explained it before, but if you can see, the point that it's at right now, it has a bigger gap over here than over here. Okay, and that's an important adjustment. And if I take both of these sides off right now, the odds of me guessing the exact adjustment when I put it back together are kind of slim. So what I do is I leave this together. At the point that I'm cleaning my parts, I will pull off just one side, pull this out, clean it, clean the little end and everything over here, and then put it back in. And that way I know I'm going to end up with the right proportions. So right now this is going to go in the big long baggie all as one piece, along with those pivot points, you know, just to make my life easier. Okay, now there is this little fork kind of piece that is screwed into the casting here. I'm going to try to get it off. Here. Oopsie. All right, so that's what it looks like. And this opening here is what the bearing off of that top piece was riding in. The bearing that sticks out of it is going to ride in a slot right there. Okay, so that kind of ties it all together. Okay, ooh, pull out that lint. Hold on a second. Let's grab some lint, huh? Well, once I pull all that stuff out, we'll be able to get to more of it, but there's a fair share of lint, which is a good thing. Honestly, that shows me that it's been a well-used machine and it's going to be very happy to be back in service. Okay, all of this stuff here. Let me start out down here at this end. I'm just going to... It does have a nut on the bottom. Let's see if I can just unscrew it. Yes. Okay. So it's got this little flat screw here. This should be able to come off now. And it does. But we're going to leave it for right now. Coming down here on this end, I cannot just unscrew it because that screw head is on the back. Okay. So we're going to have to leave that for right now. I need to be able to unscrew this, which is kind of gross right now. Okay. That's looking much better. Let me switch to a bigger bit. This looks better. And see if I can do it. Hang on a sec, I need to move you up out of my way. Oh yay, it's turning. Stiffly, I am having to use the ratchet, but it is turning, so that's good. I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute. No, I'm gonna finish taking it out. Sure I am. It's just very dry. Okay, now it's loose. All right. Here we go. There we go. So this is loosening up. Now, over here, this is the bottom of my hook, and I need to release this screw right here that is holding it on. And I actually did start it before. Let me move you up out of the way here, so it's not stuck now. Come on. Almost. Okay, so there's that screw. And I should be able to pull this whole thing off. I may need to tap it out. Well, wait, this piece has come off, which is good. This just slides over this. Let's see if I can wiggle this off. Yay, I can. Okay. So all the pieces here. This is the clamping screw that goes with that. This little piece also comes off. Let's see how agreeable this is to unscrewing. It is unscrewing. That's good. Well, it was. Okay. So this little dog bone connector, the piece, and then this can also come off. So I'm just going to put all of these in a baggie to be cleaned together, and then we'll move on. Okay, so now setting her back upright, need to deal with some things in here. First, this has the type of positioning bracket that you can lift up a little bit and move it over to the side, and hopefully wiggle the bobbin case free. There it goes. So that's obviously going to need a lot of cleaning. But I think that's just surface rust. See, that's going to clean up really good. So that's not a problem. Let's take a peek at some more lint here, shall we? It is packed in. It is compacted, you know. Very compacted. It's like felt. Tell you what, let me go ahead and get this screw loosened up. Then take this little bracket off the top. Okay, that screw is off. This should come off. There it does. Now, to get this bracket off, I actually need to come down here and loosen up one more screw. You see this one right here? Some machines don't have that, but this one does. That needs to come out. And it is, and it's just a very, very long screw. So give me a sec. Untwisting, untwisting. Still untwisting. Okay, so there it is. All right, so now that that is out, this should be able to wiggle off. I think I've got it started enough. Let me see if I can just pull it straight up. Maybe? Does not want to come out. I'm going to spray some more penetrating oil in there. It's just very dirty. So I need to get it right down in there. And up around that top edge. Okay, let me flip her up. Now, I should, I'm seeing if I can get you there. Okay, do you see this little dot right there? That is the bottom of that pin that I'm fighting right now. So, I'm looking for a little punch that I'm going to put up against that. And tap it up. There we go. So this is it. This is going to need to be taken apart and cleaned up very well too. But again, it's not bad. It's not rusted up or anything. It's just filthy, you know, with excessive lint coming out. All right. While I'm here, this should come out all the way. If you were having trouble, you could always tap it from the back. But this is the hook, and it's come out. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape, too. So that should be everything from in here. Ooh, I did not take my blade off. I'm going to need to do that. But let me go ahead and get this stuff packed up. Now, this blade is going to look, and this screw is going to look a little bit different than the typical ones because this machine was missing one. So last year, I actually got a bunch of these little blades made up. You know, you have to modify them just a bit. But because they break so much, I wanted to have plenty on hand. And you can buy them, you know, but by the time you get them shipped, they were fairly expensive for the quantity that I was doing at the time. So, yeah. But it's just a little piece of metal. And it gets tapered a bit up at the top so that the slide plate can go on and off fairly easily. But you need these. If you don't have your little blade, the slide plate won't stay on. All right, I've got her turned up on her nose. And that is tight. I'm going to get this wheel off. We've got some rust going on in there. Get a different bit here. Okay, so there's a little screw. Keep knocking my head on the light. Oh, there's a thread stuck in there. As you do, pull that out, pull out the little washer, and hopefully this will slide off. There it goes. Great. This is going to get stripped and painted, so I'm going to put it over there. And let's see if I can get this belt guard off easily. I may need to do this from a different angle. There we go. Okay, so this is going to come apart less complicated than others. Let me get these things put away real quick. So let me swap out my bit again and see if this is going to come off. Yes, it is. That's great. And the bobbin winder and the belt guard are both going to get painted. So if I pull this off, there is a little washer behind it. Come on, right here. So I want to keep track of that. And this tire is actually in decent shape. So this is going to get stripped and painted. So is that. Okay, so now up in here, I need to get this screw off to release the block for the stitch length, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take the little plate off. There's just a couple screws here to pull off and pull off that little indicator plate. Okay, so now that those screws are off, this can come off. This is blackened, but I'm going to try to polish it up the best I can because she is going to end up being a lighter color, and we want this to be nice and light and shiny to go along with her new look. Okay, so now this is also going to get painted, by the way. These, a lot of times they end up looking like this, you know, kind of gross, but it is paintable. Okay, so back over here, this screw is what I'm going to be working on loosening up. Hopefully it comes off well, and it is. Yay. Oh, I keep bumping my head on the light. Trying to stand up. Okay, I'll just keep unscrewing. There's a 3-pronged washer underneath this bolt, and that needs to not get lost. Okay, there it is. All right, and now I should be able to, there we go. I know you probably cannot see that. I am separating the block from the stitch fork, length fork, which is a bit sticky up there. Just see if I can get this out of here. Okay, there we go. So there's the fork, and this bearing does come off, and that's going to get cleaned. And get this bracket out. I think it fell back in there. Hang on. Oh, it's down in the bottom. Okay. Should grab a magnet. That's what I should do. Here is a magnet. All right. So this is going to get stripped and painted. The fork and little screws are going to get cleaned up, and let me get that put up. Just a couple tiny little extra things left. One is this thread guide down here. That is the thread guide for the bobbin winder, so I want to keep that. I'm leaving the spool pin on, not taking that off. I will see if this wants to come off easily. If it does, great. If not, I can leave it. It did come off very well, so that's good. That makes it easier for painting. And then the badge, and I'm probably not going to show you me taking it off because basically what I'm going to have to do is I carefully grind down the outside edges of those pins and then pop it off. That works best for me. You know, you do you. If you have other methods, go for it. It's very difficult to get in there and pop off the bottoms, and even if you do, then you still have to get it pried up. And I find that grinding these off and then popping it up does the least damage to the medallion. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now that I have the medallion removed, you know, I think that that works pretty well. The pins are still in here, and I need to punch them out. That number is the cast number for the machine, and it does look correct. It's in the right font and everything. Okay, so I punch those pins out. She's ready to go. She's going to go in the stripper tape probably tomorrow because I've got some stuff in my paint booth right now. So thank you so much for coming along with me. Hope you like how she's going to end up. She's going to be beautiful. Right now she's very dark and masculine, but she's going to be very feminine when we're done. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.